Forgive Russia for what? Probably the most telling example of Moscow's MH17 machinations is that, in the wake of the tragedy, outside the Danish embassy in Moscow, Russians have purportedly left bundles of flowers, stuffed animals, and notes, written in English, of course, pleading for the world to forgive them.
Outside the Dutch embassy in Moscow, flowers and cuddly toys for the lives lost in a conflict-scarred corner of eastern Ukraine. A plane broken mid-air, drawn by a child. Children should not die, they've written. We are afraid, we are ashamed, we are mourning. What is striking when you read these notes is how many of them use the phrase, forgive us, even though the official Russian line is that it has no responsibility for this terrible tragedy. You do get the impression from so many of these notes that people do feel that somehow Russia has an element of responsibility in what has been playing out in eastern Ukraine.
I think it does not matter who launched that rocket. Just because we're supporting the terrorists, we're involved.
Do you feel that Russia has a role to play in this tragedy?
No, I am sure that Russia is not involved in the tragedy. However, I would also say forgive me. I'm feeling the same.
So even though Russian news media has proffered one implausible conspiracy theory after another in a seeming attempt to distance Moscow from blame in the downing of Flight MH17, the Kremlin, who is in control of the situation in Moscow, stages a scene outside the Danish embassy to demonstrate that the Russian people really care, have a sense of what really happened, and want forgiveness. How heartwarming. Common Russians see through the Kremlin's conspiracy to obstruct international justice, understand their government's involvement, and are sorry. Unfortunately, the truth of this historical narrative is that Malaysian Airlines Flight MH17 was intentionally, not accidentally, shot down by Russia over eastern Ukraine for its own diabolical motives. The Kremlin's ruling elite aren't sorry in the least, and the Russian people are as misled, likely, as the rest of the world as to the government's twisted pursuits.